Hi guys, what's up? I'm going to just have fun. It's gonna be super fun. I'm gonna have some fun and do a live coloring of Sylveon here and see if I can answer questions while doing it, if anyone is on. This is my first time doing a live feed color, so we'll see how this goes. So we've got Sylveon here and I got the colors already picked out. So roughly it should take me about 15 minutes or so and just try something new. Okay. And of course I don't have any music. I mean, I can hum along. I could be like do 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 and give a sneak peek of Equalizer's mix because that's what's stuck in my head. Unless anyone knows the Journey song. The Journey song's pretty awesome. I have to figure out first how to see my comments. Okay, here we go. Let's put that and turn the sound off so we don't hear that. Okay. Okay. Back to action. Let's just have fun coloring. Okay. So I always like to start with white because in these things, because there's double side to them, you can't go back like with pastels or with oils or acrylics, anything that's layering upwards. Trying to get white back on top of a coloring piece at the end with Prismacolors I have found to be very difficult. I usually, seeing that these are made on Shrinky Dink paper, I have to only stick to the Prismacolors, or else I would go back in with white marker highlights. But that's all. Let's see. Just going in. Just get all the base white down real fast. Don't worry about being too accurate with this all. Because I'm going to go back in here in a little while with some shadows. Let's see, and her paw goes about there. Sylveon's got these really nice curved pink paws. So much white on Sylveon. Let's see, what other Pokemon are very white? Let's see, we've got Snowrun's pretty white. Oh, Frostlass. Frostlass is really white. So that'll be a fun one to do. Oh, if you haven't seen it, I have a poll on my page. So if you want to, you can go there, and I'm checking out ghosts and going to do a custom art piece for whatever Pokemon Go available ghost gets voted in. So usually I just color these and record them and then do a live video or I think it's what's called speed paint, even though I'm not painting and I'm not using a quote-unquote paint application, but yeah. So let's see, we got all of our white in. Cool, white's done. Now I like to go the pink. So what I found is that Sylveon's not really pink. I use a color called Process Red. Let's see, does that focus? There we go, Process Red for a Prismacolor. So we're going to go back in here and we're going to color it in a little bit light. I'll go back in a little bit later with pink and just lighten it up, but I have found that this color is one of the better ones to use for Sylveon. It just has like the correct purple equation to it. Just enough red, just enough pink. And all we're doing is we're just going to get this in here lightly. I don't have to go in and press really hard just yet. We're just getting in and getting our colors. Getting our colors all set. She's got this, I guess you would call it a widow's peak here. It's really cute. I go in and I just do it all lightly because usually I come back in with an overtone color to take it to another layer, because whereas paint you would mix on your palette, with Prismacolors you would mix on your page by doing layers. And what I found is with the Shrinky Dink paper, the Shrinky Dink plastic, is that it doesn't like to grip too much. So if I put too many layers on at a heavy layer, it has a tendency just to unlayer itself. Here we go, here's one of her ribbons. Oh, another one of her ribbons is all the way up here. Okay. Do-do-do. I don't think anyone's watching, which is totally fine, because this is just basically a test run. We're just gonna see how long we can live stream, if anyone wants to watch the page. I think that all the pull charm reveals are going to be on this page now. Do-do-do-do-do. Coming in with a little bit of pink. No, none of this is exact, and I mean, this is my third time coloring in Sylveon now, and you'd think I would remember what colors I used the first 2 times, but nope. I'm not necessarily that on top of things, and that's what makes it fun. It's a little bit of a learning process. I mean, I had just finished here. I guess seeing that I'm not going to post this feed after it's posted, I have Palkia. He's come out pretty cool. He's got cut out now. He's got his colors and stuff like that. And we've got Lugia here. So they're all colored and ready to go. And I'll have speed colors of them up. But they're both like sort of a color as you go sort of process. Because you don't know exactly what color is going to do what. And I do have cheat sheets. Like, because if you look at this, it's like, oh, this looks nothing like the color that's actually going on the paper. So I've made myself these cheat sheets that Ian has laminated for me so I can use them over and over again. So I can find roughly the closest color based on the actual color of the pencil and not the paint marker. So I'm just giving away all my secrets today. And anyone who's watching live right now will get them, but we're not posting this video live. Sylveon probably won't even go up as a speed drawing now that I've shown those. Maybe I'll just clip them out because it won't matter. Who knows? Let's see. Okay, so that looks like it's all of her pink. Just give it a little bit in her mouth for that sweet little tongue of hers. And then we're going to move on to another color. Okay, so her eyes are sort of like turquoisey, which I find really cute. Especially seeing her other colors are like lighter or bluer over here, so having the turquoise eyes are really nice. So we're just going to come in here. And I've already put down the pupils for her eyes and stuff like that, which allows me to just come in here and go around it. The other thing I've learned with the Shrinky Dink is that everything sort of has to be colored in, whether it's with white or with black. You can't leave anything just basic because it'll turn like this weird opaque color from one direction, and then from the other direction it'll be a little bit clear, like see-through, and that just doesn't work out. Okay, so I'm coming back in with a darker color. Oh, and the colors for the eyes I'm using are aquamarine and cobalt turquoise. Clearly, I'm going to look into a better camera. Maybe getting the Pixel 5. Don't know if anyone's used that one yet or has their eyes out for it. But really enjoyed the Google phones lately. It's nice to yell at Google off of the computer. Okay, so we've got her eyes here. And she does have like a little bit of an indigo blue in there too, so we'll go back in later with a very fine indigo blue and clean that up. But we're gonna just get her base colors in. We'll come back to that in a little while. So for her pinks right now, I have a little bit of, I think this is the one I want. Yeah, just straight up pink, right? Yeah, a little bit of just straight up pink. There's the English version, or rosé in French. I'm just going to come back in here and just smooth out my colors in here with this pink. And that's just going to tone down a little bit of the processed red and give a little bit more of what we consider a pink tinge to something. I also want to keep an eye out for, like here we have a light highlight here and here. So I'm just going to also come back in here and add a little bit of white here. And you just want to make sure that you really clean off the white tip too in between each one, or else you're going to end up putting pink where you want to be putting white later. Okay, so then we'll come back in here with this pink. see that because I put down that base layer of white, it acts a little bit as a repellent, that when I try to put this pink color on top, it just doesn't go there. It sort of washes it out, which is what we're looking for, because we're just looking for a highlight. And I always keep just a dry, unused paintbrush around, because I use soft leaded pencils and they get very, very messy. They leave like little friction, like what would you call them? I guess you could call them, wow, I have no words right now. Like eraser thingies, like, you know, when you use an eraser and it leaves behind like a roughness to it. So yeah, we don't want that to actually show up in our overall thing. So I think it can easily be said that I'm a little bit nervous doing this in live and in regular motion. Usually I do everything sped up, which just makes it look super slick and makes it look like I really know what I'm doing. But really, guys, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I shouldn't admit that. Like, I start off drawing or sketching, and sometimes I have a base idea of what I want it to look like at the end, but overall, I just, yeah. Yeah, it's just as you go. It's like, so I might pick a color for Sylveon and be like, oh, this is totally not the color I actually want, because it's the wrong color. Like, I thought it was going to be right. Like, I did all the prep work and pulled my colors and thought it was going to be right, and it just wasn't. I did that with Stockataka. If you notice on the speed video, there's a lot of going back over certain parts with other colors to see if I could tone it up or tone it back, depending on which direction I was going. I couldn't get the warm tone I wanted. And I talk a lot with my hands, which I realize is not great if I'm trying to show you guys a video of just getting a coloring done. So maybe I should shut up just a little bit with my hands. So yeah, there's a lot of white on this tail that I just missed. Let's see if we can pull that back out, pull out some highlights. There we go. And the highlights are going to look much better because right now I do my lights, I do my midtones, and then I do my dark tones. So let's see, songs, because I was going to start humming Equalize's new song, but I shouldn't give away his new music. So instead, if anyone has been watching the new Journey season anime on Netflix, it's awesome. Like, after watching Sun and Moon, they went so backwards in the animation style and sort of toned it back to, like, sort of back to Saturday morning cartoons a little bit, with like the too much friend, too much, oh, we love each other and we'll all be friends and it'll be great. Like, clearly Pokemon Journeys is always going to still have that. And it's always going to have that feeling of, am I a child watching this? Or, but, I mean, if anyone saw the X and Y series, the X and Y series was very epic. Okay, so now we're going to go into the darker tones of the pink, and for that I'm going to use Pomegranate. Here we go, Pomegranate. I don't even know if I download this, if it's going to be an actual HD video, or if I'm going to have to just be like, I guess we're not gonna promote this one, just because. And like, you know, when I said about, I think I chose the wrong color, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I probably chose the wrong color for this one, because it's turning out a little bit more purple than I'd like. So we're actually going to switch over to, we're gonna go with, let's see, some raspberry instead. Let's see if we can get some nice shadows with raspberry. And raspberry's too dark. Oh, don't we love when that happens? Let's see. I mean, we can go like really weird and try to go Tuscan. I mean, it works, but it's not really the color we're looking for. So I might go back over with pink at the end after I get the shadows in. because it's not really the color we're looking for. But let's get the shadows in here and then we can tone it back to pink. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing right now. Let's see if we can bring it up closer. So here, see, this is why you have to sometimes put things that are see-through, because clearly I've missed a bunch of white marks up in here. I missed the white highlight in here. But we can see how the pink's coming in very strong. And we're just going in right now and adding in some shadowing and whatnots. Actually, let's see if we can add. I think the pink's gonna wash it out too much afterwards. Oh yes, in my speed videos you don't also hear me blowing on my artwork. I blow on my artwork a lot. There we go. Let's see. Try to go back to this one, but I think this is just too purple for what I want. And that's sort of the funness of it, is that when you start getting into trying to do realistic shadows and stuff like that, and you're limiting yourself to a set, like, pure colors, set colors, you'll never really get the exact color you want unless you're a master of Prismacolors. And like I said before, Prismacolors you always sort of do these layering effects on to try to get the tone qualities you want. I had that issue with Lugia. Lugia was like this sort of gray purple in his shadow tone because of the atmosphere that the card is in. So I couldn't really get that fully in the card. But I think this layering of the dark with a little bit of the pink over top of it is helping with the shadow a bunch. It's not going too purple, it's not going too red. I think we're getting it right in there. So we're going to come in here and give some accent to, once again, get the pink off so you can use it for the white. There we go. Got a little more highlight in there. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe I'll do an actual one where I'm coloring on paper and I have a little bit more control over the environment. I almost did a bad thing. I shouldn't brush with my hand because brushing with the hand is too much friction, and I end up using the little shavings of the colored pencils, leave lines, especially on areas that are supposed to be white. It's like, that doesn't work, and this is why we always clean off the white. Because they like to just pick up everything and then you never have a white again. Okay. So I'm going to focus on doing the rest of the blue up here. So we have some blue for her ears. So I'm using ultramarine. Do I want to use ultramarine? Yes. Yes. I don't know anymore which colors I want to use and which ones I don't want to use. This one seems to be working pretty well. It looks like I'm going to just pair it up a little bit with this blue, just to add that highlight in here. Come back here and here with the blue. A little bit here. And come back in with the blue and just ease it all out again. And that's giving some dimension to the ear with some tonal qualities. I don't know why it's the computer so dark. So there we have a little bit better into that. It's sort of a just build and work process. So here we're actually using, this is the blue that I picked out to do ribbons on her with, one of her ribbon colors. But it seems to be doing really well in being the highlight in her ears. Okay, she's slowly coming together. She still needs a lot of shading on her whatchamacallit over here, her ribbon. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. My favorite color for her shadows is actually, let's see if we can get that to focus. Grayed lavender. So I use this a little bit with some of the grays that I'm going to bring out. So just doing some light shading over here. It doesn't really show up all that much, but believe me, in the overall scheme, just going in with light layers at first is the better way to go. Okay, so now I have to make a decision. I have to be like, okay, is she a warm shadow or is she a cool shadow? And I'm gonna go with she's a warm shadow. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my 20% warm gray. Woohoo! Oh my god, there's actually people watching. Hi people! I don't know who's watching, but thank you so much for joining in. Let's see, can I even tell who it is? I don't think I can tell who it is. But thank you, whoever's tuned in. We're just coloring Sylveon. We're picking some gray tones to go in here and start building out her hips and her bows and the curves and things. So we're coming in with just a 20% warm gray, just to start filling in where this is going to be. And once again, like I started with beginning at the white, I start with my lighter tones and I work to my darker tones. Okay, and now we're going to pull out, I'm actually going to jump up to a 50% warm gray. I'm just going to get in here, just so that her bow has some dimension to it. So, one of the best things I've sort of learned throughout classes and experience and years is that to take your art to the next step in coloring is to remember that everything is a three-dimensional shape, and you do those practices where you're like, okay, I'm going to now, so it's like you do the spherical shape, you do the cylinder shape, you do the cube shape, and you realize how all the shadows sort of line up with each other. Let's see, we're going to bring a little bit more of this in here to pop this. Go back in with the pink again, just to smooth it out. So, you can sort of tell from there. But you see how we've gone in now, we've added these shadows to Sylveon's bow there. Okay. So the shadows were created by using a combination of gray lavender, 20% warm and 50% warm gray. It's a little bit of a hunt and a peck for a little while to make sure we had the right colors. Okay, so the next shadow we're working on is the shadow of the bow on the face. And we're just going to keep rolling along here. So I add in the purple so we can have some purple undertones, and I come in with my lighter shade and sort of branch out a little further than my crisp shadow is going to do. Because if you've noticed, like with your shadows and stuff like that, you can see the hard shadow of my hand here, but there's actually another fainter shadow around it. So that's what I try to express when I do my shadows. So here we have the shadow of her bow right on her head. So that one's a little bit darker. And then off of it comes a lighter shadow because her face is round. And the shadow will follow the contour of her face. Okie dokie. Just touching up. I have a habit of picking up random colors and just touching up places. Whoever's still watching, thank you so much. This is a long video, and I don't expect anyone to really stay in long. I don't even also know if people can comment or not. Oh, actually, I can see on my phone here that I think it's Kayla. Hey, Kyla! Thanks for popping in. Let's see. Okay, so we finished all the shadows over here. We finished all the shadows over here. So now the next big shadow on her face looks like it's going to be down here next to this bow. So we're going to come in with this lavender. We're just going to brush out past this because her bow tie, her little bow tie here, is going to be on top of the face, which means that where it lies, it's going to be a much darker shadow, and then it's going to fade out. And we're using the lavender purple just to give a tone quality to it, so it has a more purple tone, because no real shadows have black or white to them. They're all sort of these tonal colors. And even if we look at it, we can see that on the card, she has a shadow actually almost across her face because the light is coming from this direction, which means that her strongest highlight is here. But because the card is going to get shrunken down so much during the turn process, I'm not worrying too much about those really subtle shadows. So let's see. And over here, her bow flares out a little bit, and then we have her body in front of her ribbon back here, and then her ribbon turns on itself. So whereas one part gets highlighted, this part is actually in light, and that one's in shadow. Same here. This edge of her ribbon, because her ribbon is three-dimensional, it's not a flat regular ribbon, it has a little bit of a thickness to it. So here we're seeing that thickness in the shadow. And then her entire front part, because of the bow and because of the way her legs are, this is all in shadow. And remember, as you're doing in shadows, it's not just blocks, like you're going to want to follow the curvature of things. So down here we have to remember with animals that there's a breast plate that comes in front. There is a front leg here that is also curved, and she has another curvature here. That's her legs. I've spent way too long looking at animals and looking at the muscle groups underneath the animal, like underneath their skin and stuff like that, and sort of seeing how the skeletal structure moves. So like, even though these aren't real creatures, we can work off of animal skeletons. So Sylveon, Aphelion, all the Eevees are clearly a quadruped, cat, dog, fox type creature, which means that they have, their shoulder blades are located back here. They have a round chest, they have a hip back here, they have a spine, and if you follow all those, that can really help determine where your shadows are going to lie. So if you're having a hard time following the image on the card where the shadows are, knowing the anatomy of an animal can really help. Okay, so back here, like I was saying, here's the back of her, this is the edge of her leg here. So her leg comes out in front of her belly, so she has a little bit of a shadow on her belly. And then if we follow up the leg, this is her shoulder blade here. And because the light's coming from here, this part of her shoulder, the forward part of her shoulder blade's in shadow, and then it comes down to the spine, where it's a little bit lighter, and then she has a little bit of a highlight back here on her rump, and then she has a little bit there. This back leg is completely in light, so we're not going to worry too much about that. And it looks like I may have not colored her pink up high enough, so that's an easy enough fix, because she has diamond point feet. There we go. Okay, so we've just done most of our shadows in this grayed lavender. So now I'm going to jump over to my 20% warm gray, which is just going to bring more of the gray feeling into it. More shadowy, less purple. And yes, you're going to hear me blowing the little bits of my Prismacolor off, because it's the paper isn't like 100% grip, so it doesn't all get like embedded into the paper. It's like if you try drawing on a milk carton, it doesn't really adhere as well. But we're not going to worry too much about that. I might come back later and do another video on actual paper. If anyone's commenting, I'm sorry if I don't see your comments. I just don't know how to see them. I just don't know where they are. Oh, there you are. Hey, Kayla. Okay, I have to read in my thing. Oh, Angie, what up? I I do try to do 3 layers of color because it gives a depth to how the colors come through. Sort of like if you look at a typical Pokemon drawing, the way that you see a shadow, highlight, and normal tone is the way the traditional cartoons do, because it gives a depth to the character that is more than just a flat object. So even if there's only like a little percentage of white on it, just to show the highlight on maybe an edge of a muscle group or something that doesn't need a definitive line, that white always helps. And then with the shadows, like here, I'm going 3 colors on the shadows because the white is sort of basic and white, so I don't want it to be too flat. If we come over here to, I'll pull out Lugia. So here we have Lugia, who needs to get his final trimmings with my X-Acto blade. But if we look at his shadows, I have actually 5 colors in his shadows to try and get the correct tonal quality and directionality and sort of atmosphere on the Pokemon. So it's like, I always try to use multiple colors, for lack of better words. But I'm going to keep going ahead and keep coloring, so this live stream doesn't go on forever. Okay, so I'm coming back in. Nope, we're finishing up the gray. That's what we're doing. We're working on the 20% warm gray. Oops, I forgot to do my lavender pink, purple, back here. Apparently, the comment section does not show up on the computer because I have my computer open over there, so I can see what's being streamed. There's someone sent a likey button. Thank you, likey button. Okay. There we go, there we go. Okay, we're coming back in now with our darker gray. And we're gonna focus against where the ribbon is more against Sylveon. And we're going to focus on where her body is folding. When I'm not on the Shrinky Dink paper, sometimes I use a blending tool, which allows me to use a single color into multiple stages of its own opacity, I guess you would call it, which is nice to a point, but then you still get all these layers sort of built up, and then you can't do anything with them past that point. Okay. I'll come back here. Her shadow is behind this ribbon. And we can already tell that between the 2 colors of the shadows, this one is still way more purple than my one coming out. So I'm debating going in with a purple at the end and sort of using a light purple over the entire section. But we want to get the shadows done first. And maybe come in here and do that little bit of that. She's got a hard shadow on her back leg back here, so we'll just drop that in. Her front legs are pretty much in the clear. She must be jumping through some magical fairy light because I don't know what this actual light source is. And it looks like we're having a light source coming from down here, along here, and then we have another light source coming from up over here, and there's a lot of magic going on in this. So Sylveon must be doing some pretty fun lighting things. Okie-dokie. So we're getting a bit in there now. Okay. My favorite color always to use for the mouth is usually a processed red, which is what we used for her colors for her tongue, and then coming back in with Tuscan red. I just find that those 2 colors really work well in a mouth. There we go. It's very cute, subtle. Okay, so we still have her ears, or not her ears, her 2 ribbons to do, and I realized I didn't pull enough of my colors. Let's go with, okay, so we already have the pink from her actual tone quality, so I'm going to finish off with light cerulean blue and sky blue to do the ribbons. Okay, so we know that the end of her ribbons are the light blue here, and And then she's got a band here. There we go. And one here. And then I'm just going to bring that blue the rest of the way up. I'm going to use the blue to actually smooth out a little bit of the shadow too. So we have a shadow there. We actually have like a light effect along here that I'm going to not replicate because it doesn't, I'm not using the rest of the lighting effect on the card, from the card. So like she's got like flowers here and she's got these light power rays coming up, so. And this is where you realize you forgot that I forgot something. So if we overlay this real quick, we can totally see that Kay forgot this ribbon up here. So she's just going to really quickly just give a little outline to that. Okay. And let's get that ribbon in. I was thinking that there wasn't enough ribbons. I mean, still looks like we're missing one. I don't know where this ribbon's end wound up, but this makes sense because this is the other ribbon for her head up here, and we'll fix the outlining with that when we get a little bit closer. Okay, so I just use my white ever so lightly to get a little bit of that tone on. So we can get the shape of the ribbon out and up there, and then when I go back and I do my final thing. And of course, because this is behind the ribbon, it needs a shadow. And here I'm cheating and I'm only using one shadow, and you can sort of already tell that the quality of the shadow is lesser. So let's put some purple on there. Okie dokie. So, next step is to make sure that every area of Sylveon did get colored. So if I put it on my hand like this, we'll see that there's actually a good chunk of stuff that got missed. So I'm just gonna use this little white here and fill in these chunks, because when she gets shrunk down to a charm, she doesn't care if I missed a spot, she'll still look weird. Sometimes when I do this, I actually do this on another colored piece of paper. So it's not as weird, but I don't have that paper ready for me right now. So we're just going to do this a little bit on the fly. Had a pupil there. Got our highlights there. Okie dokie. Just try to make it all nice and smooth. Okay. Looks like we can do a little bit more highlighting down here on the ribbon itself, the bow. Let's see. There, a little bit there. Feather it out. Thanks again, everyone who's tuning in and saying hi and checking things out. I'm trying to be aware of those things on. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. And I had noticed that there's a little bit of an indigo blue in her eye, just around the iris, so we're just going to go back in ever so faintly, just around her iris, which of course is white, because why not make the fairy creepy? There we go. Okay, then what I find always makes these pop out much better when they're done is to use go back over your black lines again, and I use a Micron, which is not the best pen I've been finding because of the buildup of the plastic on Eevee, on Sylveon. It likes to clog up my pens because the way that these work are they're little tiny tubes that using little pressure will make ink show up. So hold on a second as I fight with mine to start it going. See, I always have a piece of paper around, so make sure that it's running. Here, I'll stick that up there so you can see how often I fight with it. Okay, so we got that going, so got it all cleared off. Now I'm going to go back in and And start putting back in those black details, like around her eyes. Making sure her nose is there again. And trying to give some little bit of space to it too, so it can have some time to dry. I have done this before where I've put my hand right on top of it when we're done. And then just smudges it all to unknowable hell. Okay, so what I do first is, because it's more annoying because it keeps getting clogged, is I use my smaller pen and just go over the lines that I know are covered in colored pencil. I guess at this point I can say I use the micron to start off too. It's my base layer. So basically I'm going over all those lines again that I drew with my base layer. And this is just going to make it pop all more like the official art style. As Equalize likes to say, he likes it when I make them pop with like sticker format. And sometimes this is the longest process. Right now I'm being very fortunate with my pen not clogging up, which is very nice of it. And now that I've set it, it'll probably clog up. Cool. Like I was saying before, as I started singing, I accidentally started singing Equalize's mix because that's what's stuck in my head right now, and I don't want to actually give away his mix before he's done with it. He's probably going to have it done in the next couple weeks. I have to work on that picture, and I can't say what that picture is because then I'll give away what it is. Okay. So, like I said, I'm just going through and doing all the ones that are on the inside. There we go. There we go. See the pen starting to get a little bit clogged up. Come up here and just squiggle until it's nice and solid black again. There we go. In case you're ever watching my speed videos and see me leave for a while on the speed video, trying to get the ink running again in the pen. Because especially in these areas where we have a lot of layers, gets insane. But I have to say, going back and doing the inking on the lines really makes an art pop. Makes it really stand out. Let's see. I've tried long lines, I've tried short lines. It doesn't really matter to the pen doesn't care. It's just like, I'm sorry, are you doing something? It's like, yes pen, can you continue doing the thing you're supposed to do? So I very sadly have signed up for Sketchbox, which I've never done before. I've done subscription boxes before, I did Loot Crate and stuff like that, but unfortunately Loot Crate just, they started being late on their boxes, or they just weren't, like they were too all over the place. Like, we all know that nerd geek culture is really all over the place. It's a very vast network. I mean, there's people who are like, only Stargate Galactica and Star Wars are nerdy, and then you have people who are like, no, Lord of the Rings, and then it's like there's such a wide realm, and then you have us as gamers being like, Pokemon, 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 Pokemon. There we go. Okay, so we've got all of her interior lines done, which means that she really pops that way, but let's make sure that she really feels anchored. So what I do now is I go for my thicker pen, the 05 micron. Make sure that's all running. Thank you for the like, whoever just liked me, woohoo! Raise the roof. Okay, so now we're going back in. And sometimes my pens like me, and sometimes they don't. I've gone through so many micron pens. Like, I thought they were all just drying up before. Pardon that. That's my 7 o'clock alarm to remind me to make dinner. Dinner tonight was courtesy of Taco Bell. Not sponsored by anyone. Just don't know what to say during these videos. Okay. See, my pens are acting up just a little bit. There we go. Looking at some solid lines. And yeah, this ribbon I had to draw in last minute, so I'm not 100% certain where its edge is. Drawing on top of the Prismacolors tends to make my pens unhappy. There we go. I've done brushes and stuff like that, but I find that I have way better control with the micron tips. It's just nicer, easier, more control a little bit. The brush can give you a nice variety of lines, but in this situation I just want a consistent, what I think this is actually, what, 0.45 millimeters. And this also helps me out later, because using this thicker line on the outside is going to show me where I'm going to do my cuts. So I'll cut out this interior section there with my X-Acto blade later. So when she's shrunk down to charm size, she will have more diversity than just if I were to cut her out in like a circle. She'd feel more like she herself is an item instead of being a picture of her, which I always enjoyed. I guess if I was a little bit smart, I'd have the other Sylveon charms I've done. I don't even have them posted to my site. Should get them posted this week. Add that to the laundry list of things. I want to get done. Halloween's such a busy season. I have I'm making life-size Gengars and doing pumpkins. I think I'm going to be doing a live stream of a real pumpkin carve. Probably, let's see, what week is it? We're 2 weeks from Halloween? No, we're 3 weeks from Halloween. So, in 2 weeks, I'll do a live carve. I always hold off to do my real pumpkins until the very last minute. Which this year we can't, because this year Ian and I are going to do a haunted house. Well, not really a haunted house. We're going to do a Pokemon, spooky Pokemon garage. It's gonna be really cute. We've been writing up ghost quizzes to test people's ghost Pokemon knowledge, so that'll be really fun. We're gonna have some non-candy type things for kids. Ian's gonna work on making that, which I think is gonna be really cute. I'll say more about that as we get closer. If you're in the area, by all means, come check it out. We're gonna try doing it 2 nights. We're gonna do it Friday night and Saturday night, which is Halloween. Let's see, almost there. Let's rotate her again. Try not to put my hand back in the ink, because the ink is still wet. Microns, they dry really fast on paper, but when you're using something that's not paper, they tend to be finicky on how long they dry. Okay. Okay, let's see. There we go. Like I said, doing the nice heavy outline really helps a lot. So I clearly can't get the effect that's going on in the eyes. But we've got the shading in, we've got the overall effect in, we've got the highlights. But yeah, so I'll probably go ahead and puncture a hole right there for her because you have to punch the hole before you do it, the Shrinky Dink. So that's the ones we have so far. So there's Sylveon. Let's see if I can get these guys over here real quick. And then we've got Palkia, and we've got Lugia. So yeah, these are our three so far. These guys are already cut out scissor-wise. They're going to go back in with an X-Acto blade and clean up some of the edges to make sure that they really pop, like cut out the inside of Lugia's wing, some edging around Palkia. Sylveon, I'll cut out with my scissors first and then go back in, and then I still have to color in Naganadel. Still can't remember what his name is. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been great. Yeah, so check out, maybe I'll do a couple more live streams randomly. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.